Teaser. Here on the Roaring 30s. I'm so happy. I have so many questions to ask you because we've had many transparent conversations. And this one seems to be like, when we start talking about this topic, dating, it can go on for like an hour, like two, like easily, you know? So I'm so glad you're here to join me. And yeah, so let's get started. What was your dating journey like in your 20s in comparison to your 30s?
Oh man, it's like a completely different ball game. In my 20s, it was more so meeting people at events, going out to concerts, that kind of drive.
Yeah.
Even like High Five, Black Planet, like it's a
Yo, I didn't even honestly, I was so naive as a teen. I didn't even use Black Planet, like the way you're saying it. I'm like, hi, my name is Colette. I like the color orange.
Yeah.
I'm 17.
Right? Oh man. So it was really MSN Messenger, like
yes, that was a big one. Yeah.
Woo. So it's completely shifted. And then that was like the beginning of the era of Facebook when we start to hit like early 20s-ish. That's when Facebook started to take off. So the online platforms just started then. But during my 20s, for most of my 20s, I was actually married. So I was married for 6 years.
And that was a huge wedding.
It was a huge wedding. But things didn't end up working out. So now I'm back into being single and back into the dating scene. And man, things have changed. Now you like swipe left and swipe right. Yes. With the COVID pandemic things happening now. We don't get to go out as much. Yeah. But I find now there's, before COVID happened, I would still go back to how I used to meet people, was go and do fun things, go and learn new things. Going like paint nights, go hiking, go like salsa dancing, learn like a whole bunch of different things. And
the salsa dancing is a thing you just picked up like the other day. And now you're like a full out instructor. Yeah. And I really appreciate, you're using your 30s to like find out new things about yourself. And you're right, like going out to places, doing things is how you meet people, new friends, and even new like romantic relationships, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I find like even now in my 30s, I love to travel even more. Just getting a better scope of the world, meeting different types of people, moving from Toronto to Alberta, and just like learning.
There is -6 right now.
Sorry, what?
It's -6 in Alberta, guys. So over here in Toronto, it's 15 degrees. There's no snow on the ground. Just plug that. It's a plug.
Oh man, it's normally warmer than that, but we're just experiencing some technical difficulties with the weather.
All right.
So
cool.
You know what I'm saying? It happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
So how long have you been like single for then?
Technically, like does this include like dating, like small forms of dating? Because if we're gonna say like dating, like I've gone on dates, but I've been single for.
We're talking about commitment. Like, this is my woman, this is my man. Like, exclusively, I guess we're talking about exclusively dating. So, like, how long have you been single for? Not like you went out for a date, I like her, I don't like her, but like, you know, you're claiming someone to be your person.
All right, so technically I've been single for like a month. So, but before that, I was single for like 3 years. So
okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, honestly, like it's good to know, like to be aware of what you like and what you don't like from the jump. Mm-hmm. Nobody gets hurt.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
So
exactly.
That's okay. Yeah, that's okay.
And now with the dating experience, just from before compared to now, having experience that I have in the field. Now I just have no time for games. You know what I mean? I'm in like my mid-30s. So it's not like I'm going to spend this amount of time sitting down to get to know someone for like 8 months before I decide. Now I ask all the tough questions up front just so that I know what I'm getting into. And preferences and everything make a difference. And my deal breakers and stuff, I bring that all up at the very beginning just so I don't waste anybody's time. You know what I mean? Time is valuable.
Ladies, I said the man is single. This is what we're looking for. No, you know what? When I met Nana, I was the same way. And he was the same way. So we didn't really play games. And because we knew what we like, what we presented, we liked it. Yeah. So we didn't play games. We jumped right into it, you know? And so for me, I can't understand the games at like late 20s, early 30s. We're here still playing hopscotch. No, like I want to know what you're about. Here are my deal breakers. What are yours? And even being mature enough to say, you know what? I don't want you to compromise the things that you believe in or are deal breakers for me. So as a mature person, I will step back because I want you to be happy. Yeah. So yeah, I agree. Like, so, guys, my friend's single. I love that. I agree. Yeah. Because no time to play. Put everything on the table. I don't blame you. Yeah. So tell me deal breakers. Talking about deal breakers. Tell me like a cringe worthy date. Something that just made you go, ugh, like this is not going well.
All right. So I was on this date in a bigger city, and the night was going well. We did some fun activities, and it came down to like eating and talk about life. And the person mentioned that they were interested in me, but they're like, just so you know, like I'm open to different things. I'm like, what do you mean by that? And then they said to me, would you like if you were the main course meal, but I can have like a little course meal on the side,
like so you'd be appetizer?
Like main appetizer here and appetizer there. And I was just like, and she goes, would you be open to like an open relationship? I was like, that's a no. So what I did, instead of coming at the person in that way, I was like, how about this? I'm like, what if you had a man and your man said the same thing to you and said, you know what, I want to have this girl on the side, that girl on the side, but you are the main course meal. I want to come see you. I'll sleep at your house. I'll come hang out with you the most. But on Mondays and Fridays, I got to go see this girl and that girl. How would you feel? And she said, I'd be jealous. So I said to her, I was like, so why would you ask that of a man? And that was it. That was it. That was the end of that. And but it was a good experience because I got to question her on her belief system and how she thought. I'm like, if you expect that out of a man for your relationship, or do you expect that for yourself as well too? Like, how are you going to feel about it? You know what I mean? So I always take into consideration, I'm like, when someone presents an idea of stuff, don't just shut it down. Just ask questions because some people are just curious. You know what I mean? And it was, I kind of cringed for a second, not gonna lie on that. But moving into the deal breakers for me, I know for me, my three big things are faith, family, and fitness. Faith because it shapes the values of what I believe. And once I have kids, which is part of the family thing, I want to have kids. So it helps the foundation around raising the kids. And if a person doesn't want to have kids, then again, that's a deal breaker. And then fitness, again, that's a lifestyle thing. So someone that says they're active versus someone that actually is active is completely different. And I know if it's part of your lifestyle, if you're with someone that doesn't enjoy fitness and you're trying to be active, it could lead to some serious clashing. And sometimes things are not always what it seems. I'll just say that. So for me, when I like scope out a possible opportunity for stuff, I actually want to see if the person is doing that without me being in their life. You know what I'm saying? Like if they say they're actually into it, are they actually doing it themselves first? And then I could probably just add to that. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to try and like grab someone that's like, fine, I'll try fitness. And then I mean, like, because then it feels like you're dragging them versus like doing an activity together. And honestly, there's so many fun things. You don't have to go to the gym. You don't have to just do one specific thing, but just being active, going for walks, going for dancing, going for
hikes.
Yeah, going for
hikes. Which is
what
you do, which I've seen on your Instagram, which honestly, low key, I think is amazing.
Yeah.
Even though I'm like, what is Mike doing? It's cold. It's like -40, but he's hiking. But I think that's so amazing. Yeah, no, it's true.
Yeah.
Continue.
So those are my
You said faith, fitness, and family.
yeah. Yeah. So those are my like absolute deal breakers, because I know being previously married, just knowing what shapes a marriage, shapes the culture of stuff. And also someone that's gonna like my personality. That's a big thing. Because if someone can't stand you, it ain't gonna work. You know what I mean? So no matter how much you try and things like that, and then choosing love every single day. So no matter what happens, choosing to love every single day. And just really following. This is where the faith part kicks in. Like, love is patient, love is kind, allowing that love to grow. But it's a decision that you have to make every day, not just a feeling that you get inside. So yeah.
I love non-negotiables.
Yep.
I never really, you know what? I happened onto non-negotiables in my 30s. It's very like, okay, if you want to do this, you want to do that. But when I had Soraya at age 30, I realized, like, what are my fundamentals? Like, what's really important to me and my family? And I have to agree with you. I am the same way. I am faith-based. I am family-oriented. And I love creating memories. Like, that's a big thing. Yeah. So yeah, if you're entering or if you're dating and you don't know your core fundamentals, I suggest you just take some time to like get to know yourself. And that's okay to get to know yourself, because what was your non-negotiable when you were 20 is probably not your non-negotiable now, because maybe you have more depth and you have more experience than what you had when you were in your 20s, right? Yeah. So totally, and it helps you not to waste your time and get annoyed because you either A, don't know what your non-negotiables are, or B, you're afraid to voice your non-negotiables. And you don't want that either. You don't want, like, especially when it comes to failed relationships, I think it has a lot to do with like not having those really hard conversations and uncomfortable conversations.
Absolutely.
So that's amazing. And I totally agree with that. And I think you should have non-negotiables like in all areas of your life.
Absolutely.
Romantic.
Yeah. And I believe, like, when I was younger, I was so focused on just the faith aspect of stuff. Whereas I didn't care about the health and fitness part. I didn't care about the family part as much. I was just so focused on that influenced all the decision-making when it came to relationships, that I didn't take a chance to like look at all the other areas of life that actually make marriage successful. It's just a learning experience, right? Like, it's one of those things you go through time and you learn about that. So
let's just jump into that before we get to the other questions, right? Mm-hmm. Let's talk about like your experiences growing up in church, and what were your like perceptions before, I guess, before your marriage, and what are your perceptions now that you've grown?
Okay, yeah. So when I was married, before I was married, I was just like ministry focused, like more focused on just like finding a virtuous woman who just does things at church. Whereas there's so many other things that revolve outside of the church, like learning about behavior and behavior patterns. I never really like dove into that concept of stuff, learning someone's actually family history, learning about just different things that you can learn about a person, because church is just one day. It was just a Sunday, right? And it was more of like, I'm seeing the person just for that one day versus the rest of the week. And also as well, before I mentioned earlier as well, just like fitness and stuff like that. For me, at that time period in my life, I was overweight. So I wasn't really focused on, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was focused more on eating. So I was like, I need me a chef that can cook me all my meals. And I still want that, don't get me twisted. But at the same time, there's more of a focus now on balanced life versus just all ministry stuff. And at the time, I was really focused when I was in my early 20s on just that. And I
think a lot of us were, though. A lot of us were. We weren't. And how can you be at your early 20s, know how to serve your partner? That is all even you learning about yourself. Right? So no one can blame you or the other person for making a decision based off of faith, because that's what we're taught. And I don't know what goes into marriage counseling. like I guess pre-marriage counseling.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe those questions come up, and even then, like sometimes you're still getting through yourself, so you can't even really answer those questions like thoroughly.
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, at that time period in my life, I was so young and I was so wrapped up in love and in that culture of just doing like ministry related things or church related things. I didn't really see the other sides of life. And I should have listened to people that were also speaking into my life and be like, hey, you make sure this area of life is good and this area of life is good. Finances are important. You ever talk
Are you talking about older people?
Older people, yeah, older people, and just like mentors outside of the situation that I was in. And I was so consumed with like trying to get married right then and there. Like when I met her, just like jumping into things. And I went from like dating to engaged in 5 months later and then married, or just like all in 1 year, just bang, bang, bang. And I should have just took my time and took the process of getting to know someone, learn more like behavior patterns and things like that, and find out if they actually really do love you. You know what I'm saying? Because when you're in that honeymoon phase for the first 6 months, you get all the good stuff. You know what I mean? Like it's always the person's best foot forward. And it takes time to get to know someone. Now, you constantly learn and grow, but there's certain foundational principles through behavior patterns that someone presents that always usually stay the same unless a traumatic experience happens. Yeah. Or that they go through a change of environment. So now knowing this and like diving into more of that concept of stuff, I ask more questions when in the dating phase and going on first dates that relate to that kind of stuff. So yeah.
But have you found a woman though that was a little bit like shocked that you're asking all these questions and you're probing like the way that you are? Do you find that they're a bit standoffish or they're surprised?
Sometimes they're surprised. Well, honestly, I kind of had like a little bit of a cheat code because I hosted this show last year called Meet the Singles. And I was interviewing guys and girls on my show to be open to the live audience for anyone that was interested. So in that time period of being the host of the show, I got to research dating more and asking the right questions. So I ask questions that flow into conversation, so it's never awkward, but it also gets the right information out that I'm looking for without being overwhelming about stuff. You know what I mean? Or
like
being like, make it sound like, yeah. So, and part of it is just like, so for instance, if you want to get to know how somebody is, right? Like what they really like, ask them, what do you like to do in your spare time? What are 3 things you enjoy doing in your spare time when there's nothing to do? And then that way you kind of see what they're passionate about, because usually people do things that they're passionate about or that they enjoy in their spare time, right? And it's getting information, but it's not in a way that's like crazy, you know what I mean? And then ask them like a question like, what would be like your dream first date? What would that be like? And then you can see what they like, what kind of environment they like, what would make them feel comfortable, like all that kind of stuff by asking the right questions, but not like drill sergeanting them.
Yeah. The drill sergeant thing is not. Have you ever dated a woman that asked those like very hard questions on the first or second or third dates and you felt like you were being drilled?
No. I've had someone ask me those questions, but they didn't really drill it, but I could tell that they were curious to know what it is that they want. And sometimes people can see like over curious, which means they're really interested, which is not a bad thing, just really interested to know. And it's not really, it wasn't really a drill sergeant situation. It was more so of like, all right, how many kids do you want? All right, when do you want to have kids? And I was like, okay, wow, okay. First date.
Yeah. You know what? Let me tell you something. Before I met Nana.
Yeah.
So before I met Nana,
yeah.
I was dating, right?
Yeah.
Because I always say I could feel that he was coming. Like at the top of 2015, I knew, I was like, man, the person that's gonna be my life, he's coming. I could feel it. So I was out there meeting people, and I always will say Like not one of them, to me, they were whack. To me, like I was like, but even the older ones, I was like, what's happening? Like, I thought you guys were mature. So anyway, the one guy before I met Nana, he's someone I knew from my past, and he came back around again, and he wanted to get to know me, I guess, again. So we met up, and I remember asking him, like, okay, so like, what do you want? What do you mean? What do I want? I'm like, I'm not asking you to marry me. I just want to know, like, in your dating, are you just dating just to get to know people, or are you dating because you're hoping to find someone that you can settle down with? Oh, why Christian girls are like that? Like, why are Christian girls always asking these questions? I'm like, sir, because I just want to know. Because me, I am dating. I'm trying, like, I would like to find someone that I can settle down with. And if that's not your flex, that is okay. I'm not judging you. I'm not even asking you to marry me. I just want to know what your intentions are. And I'm allowed to know that. Because you're dealing with me. Right? And not only that, at that time I had my son. So I really need to know, like, what your intentions are, because you're not going to be over here being introduced to my child and you're in today, you're gone tomorrow. Do you get what I'm saying? So I found in that sense, when women are, or when I have been very direct, it almost was like, oh, like, what are you doing? So that's why I was asking you, like, if that was your experience as well. Like when women would like press you about a question, not really press you, but ask you a very direct question if you felt like it was a bit much.
Yeah. Well, honestly, I love those types of questions because it helps me to get an understanding of the person, and it shows me that there's a level of seriousness involved with the person that's asking that question. So I'm really big on behavior patterns and behavior theory. So people do certain things because they want answers or for a purpose, or their actions lead to that. So getting asked questions like that just means they're actually curious. If I'm on a date and someone's not asking me questions, I'm asking all the questions, that's when it's kind of like, is this person actually interested? Or is it more so like me trying to press the situation? You know what I'm saying? So when someone asks real good questions like that, I'm cool with it.
And let's be clear about behavior, right? Like, yeah, like people can ask you questions and people can even tell you things you want to hear. Like we are in the digital age. I can go on your page right now and be like, ooh, he likes bachata, right? He likes salsa dancing. He's an acro. Oh, so do I. I like it. I you know, you can do a little research before you even go to a date. And you don't know the first thing about like acro fitness. I certainly don't, right? So sometimes we talk about behavior. We're also talking about watching body language and watching consistencies. Like, I think that over time, that it's not just words, it's actions. And you can see how people actually spend their time. Or you could see, like, if you say, hey, do you want to go rock climbing? And they're declining maybe like a lot of activities that you enjoy, is also a big like red light or a yellow light to caution, because maybe this person is saying what you want to hear. They do like you, but they don't enjoy the same things that you enjoy.
Absolutely. And I learned how to weed those people out.
Okay. Tell us how.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if I should share that secret, because that secret is deep. Because with 2 weeks of getting to know someone, right? All it takes is usually 1 or 2 weekend getaways. When you go with someone somewhere for a whole weekend and their guard is eventually down and they're not like, oh my gosh, this. You ask them stuff and like, hey, what do you want to do? And you find out what they want to do. And for me, what I do is I ask them what they want to do first. And if they like, they say, let's dance, let's do this. Or they know that I like to do that. Then maybe 2 weeks from now, I'll see if they probe the question, if they want to dance. Because I've had both, where I had people fake it for a little bit. And then it's like, no, I don't really like that. And then I had people that actually like said, hey, let's do this. Like, I want to do this like a month into things. You know what I mean? Like, let's meet up and do this. And I was like, oh, they're actually taking interest in it. But you can actually tell there's interest, because then they'll go and like tell their friends about it. Then they'll post it up. And then they want more. Like, there's actual like interest there. And I've actually had one person with that when we stopped like dating, going out, continue doing it and continue doing things that I showed them. And they said they really enjoyed it. So that's how I know they actually liked it versus just doing it for me. And I could tell in the midst of doing that same activity, you can tell by their body language if they're actually enjoying it. So because being a personal trainer, I can tell when someone's shutting down. I can tell when someone's excited. You can tell by somebody's body language. For me personally, I can tell by someone's body language if they're actually enjoying the activity that they're doing versus they're just doing it because they have to be there. They want to in person. So yeah.
Body language, all that good stuff. And lastly, what I'll say to that is that, you know, I know in our 30s, we're pressured to like have children, especially women, and like to get married and settle down, buy a house, and a big fence, all that stuff. Every time I think about like my life, I always think about how I want it to end. I know it sounds weird, but it's true. I think about the things that I want my children to remember me by. And I know that when I take, God willing, which will happen one day, it's such a weird thing to say, but when I take my last breath, I just want to know that I lived a beautiful life, whether single, whether Nana and I make it, and God willing we do make it, or we go our separate ways.
Yeah.
The reason why is because I've seen what staying in a toxic relationship looks like.
Yeah.
I've seen what it looks like when people abandon their relationship, but they're still in it, but they've abandoned it.
Yeah.
And I don't want that hurt. I don't want that hurt. I don't want to carry that. And I don't want to have any regrets. And I cannot blame the person I'm with for dragging me along because I was there for the ride. Yeah. You know, so I mean, every circumstance is different. Some women, there are other circumstances like abuse. So I'm not speaking about extreme circumstances. I'm talking about like, you know, the ones that we're in every day where we can make choices. Are they easy choices? No. When there are children involved, are they easy choices? No. But I do know for a fact that we all have to answer for our own lives. And I know all of us want to be happy.
Yeah, 100%.
And you want to be happy with the person that you're with. So don't even fake the funk. You want to fake the funk for a job interview because you need a job? Yeah. Do what you got to do for the job, right? For the coin. But we're talking about intimacy, love, and everyday relationships. Like the faking the funk thing goes out the window because that's supposed to be like your sacred place, your place of intimacy. Mm-hmm. You know, where you go home to unwind and be free. So yeah, like, for sure. I think that asking those hard questions, watching behavior patterns, making sure this is what you really, really want is very important because it's a trickle effect. And who wants to start over and keep starting over because they can't get it right? And I would encourage every 30-year-old to take the time to get to know themselves a little longer. And it's okay. Yeah, the truth is that it's okay because even if it's 10 years, 15 years, 20 years with the same person, let it be the person that you want to be with. Exactly. Yeah, that's how I feel. So leading into the next question, my question is, you know, like now that you've been married, you're divorced, do you still believe in the concept of the one?
I don't necessarily say the concept of the one. I actually believe you can love and marry someone and choose to love that person no matter who that person is, right? You can marry someone and you could grow in love with that person. And you can make it work with anybody if you choose love. But there are better case scenarios and better case situations for each person because we're all designed differently. We all have different personalities. So sometimes there's personality clashes, behavior clashes, things like that. So there's people that actually would fit really well with the person that you are. And that is probably like the highest choice. But I wouldn't necessarily say there's the one in general, right? But yeah, there's amazing people out there and some people fit better than other people do. So yeah.
Yeah, I also feel like there there are other people that might gel with you, but when that person cross your path, like for me, to me, is Nana, like you just know.
Yeah.
And I know there are other great people out there that might compliment me as well. But from where I can see, like where I'm standing right now, I believe like Nana is like, I didn't want to talk about Nana because I just love him so much. Like he is someone that really is my person. Yeah. Like my equal other half for real. You know, so, but God forbid anything were to happen, would I give up on love and say, oh my God, Nana's gone? So like, you know, there must be like another person out there to like rekindle the fire or like allow you to be transparent and be at peace and all that good stuff. So I agree too, but especially growing up in the church, a lot of people have testimonies saying, and I'm not knocking testimonies because I'm not God. And sometimes people say, yeah, this is the one, this is the one. And the truth is that person is the one, you know? Yeah. But I think I think oftentimes when relationships don't pan out the way that they thought it would pan out, people are discouraged by going back to the church question, perceptions, like by what the church may have encouraged, like saying that there's the one and you will know and just stay and pray. And this is the one for you. And when things don't work out because people are human and we're flesh, we're discouraged and we're afraid to like open up again to experience love. And I'm an advocate for love because love is healing. Absolutely. So I don't believe that there is just the one, but that person in your life, that person that walks in, that's that light that allows you to be free. Yeah. And allows you to heal. If that's the person for you right now, then I would say that is the one in this moment. Absolutely. And you should care for it. Yep. Don't have a wandering eye. Care for what you have, you know?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that connection is huge. When you find that right person, you have that connection, you connect emotionally, mentally, spiritually, physically, like all that connection is there. And there's obviously you may have more connection in one area than the other, but those areas grow, you know what I'm saying? So I agree.
Yeah. So what advice, 2 questions. I'll put 2 in one. One is, what advice would you give to women who are dating or like, dating? And the other question is, what advice would you give to your younger self now that you have some experience?
All right. So women who are dating, don't compromise yourself and what your deal breakers are for any situation. Be true to yourself. And sometimes in this world and the time that we're living in, things may seem very dim in terms of meeting people. And but don't compromise yourself and your belief systems, but also be open to new concepts as well too of meeting people. Some people are like, I meet them and they're like, have you tried online dating? No, that's not for me. No, I ain't doing no online dating. You know what I mean? And they shut off areas, but they want a good relationship, but they're closing different avenues. And sometimes you never know what kind of avenue is going to lead you to the person that you're looking for. So I just say be open-minded to the areas of avenues that dating is now allowed with the platform of online dating and different things like that. And don't be closed-minded to that stuff. But again, don't compromise any of your deal breakers for a guy, but just be open to different platforms of meeting people. And kind of like just open your heart to it and don't allow certain past hurts, because sometimes this happens. Yes. I know it's a hard thing. Allow yourself to heal before diving into a relationship and opening yourself back up again. Allow yourself to heal. And it's important because when you carry stuff from past relationships into a new relationship, sometimes you look at the guy through the lens of your past negative experiences and shape what they're doing and automatically assume that their behaviors are just like the ex's behaviors and all that kind of stuff. So just make sure when you go into a new relationship, wipe a clean slate for the dude, try not to carry anything from the past into the present, new opportunity that presents itself. And advice I would give myself is don't go to the States and eat all those IHOP pancakes every weekend. Stay active, stay healthy. That's what I tell myself. Also, make sure my credit score is still on point. Like credit when I was.
Listen, that's a whole.
Right.
Finances is a whole conversation.
Right. And make sure and save, but also invest. Oof. Save, but invest.
Word.
And when looking for a spouse, make sure you look at all the areas of life and not just focus on just one main area. Make sure there's a balance in all the areas of life. And I tell my other self that Toronto is not just the spot. There's other spots in Canada where you could be really successful. So keep out a good eye for Alberta. Woo, 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 woo.
Yeah, where it's currently -7 and snowing. Yeah, like, but it's true. I guess I know you do have to be open.
Yeah.
Finding someone.
Yeah.
And so for sure. And so my next question to you is in terms of like what you know now and what you knew then.
Mm-hmm.
What was your big no in your 20s that you've come around to now that you're in your 30s?
In which area of life? Just dating or?
Yeah, dating.
Back in when I was 20, I wouldn't say yes to single moms on a date, only because I knew the level of responsibility that was there. And when I was 20, I was not as mature as I am now. And with me now, family is a big concept for me. And being in my mid 30s, I'm more open to that concept because I want to have a family. Whereas back in my 20s, I probably wouldn't dive there into like dating single moms and stuff like that. And now just being more mature and just knowing about life, life situations happen. And I would never hold that against anybody in terms of dating wise and stuff like that.
Yeah, because honestly, at 30, some of us have had children from committed relationships. Some of us have been married. Some of us have had homes and lost our homes. Some of us have had corporate jobs and like lost it or been laid off, or like so many things have happened, unimaginable things. Because in our 20s, we're so optimistic. So in our 30s, there's just a whole lot of stuff happening.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
But I do think maturity is the key for everything.
Absolutely. And when you're in your early 20s, it's completely different, right? Like it feels like you have the whole world ahead of you, and you don't see the other things that you do when you start to mature, right? So yeah,
for sure. So now, Mike McKoy, I think you did a great job, first of all, with displaying how awesome you are, number one. So I know there's some single ladies gonna be sliding in the DMs. Who knows?
Wow.
So, but it's true. You did a great job, Mike. But I'm gonna ask you some speed dating questions.
Okay, go ahead.
So the first question is for those who are interested. They want to know a little bit more about you. I'm doing the work for them. Okay, and then they can go ahead and slide in the DM on their own. So first question is, which I think you already answered. Do you want any children, and how many?
That's a first date question, eh?
we just want to know what's up. Yeah. Like, we're putting it on the table.
I do want to have
what the ladies who are watching.
Yeah. I do want to have children. I wouldn't mind having 2 children. I'd be open to more. But yeah, 2 children is cool with me.
Okay. And the next question is, do you prefer older or younger women, and what is the age range?
Oof. I wouldn't say, I prefer like someone around my age or younger.
Which is what?
34 to like I'll go like maybe like 26 to 34 ish. Like I want someone that's like in my realm of stuff. If they're maybe like 1 or 2 years older, yes. But the reason why I'm saying this is because I find my older friends want to get married right now, have their kids right now. Like when they're like 36, 37, 38, they want everything like right now. And I'm willing to, because I don't want to have a second divorce. So I want to take that to get to know the person, find out again, behavior patterns, learn about the person, be with that person. And I don't want to rush anything. Whereas I find the younger women don't really want to rush into anything, and they're willing to like wait a little bit longer without like rushing things. I find that, just based off of the friend circle that I know, and just like the older friend circle that I know that are still single, it's more of like, get married right now. Let's find the one right now, married next week. And like, they want to like go, go, go. And I wouldn't want to be in that position. That's the only reason why.
I hear that. And so next question is, what are you looking for in a woman? Which again, I think you already answered, but you can go a little further, like deeper into it.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, faith, family, and fitness are my 3 things. Someone that goes to church and believes in God. And that's important because that's just the foundation of everything that I believe. But also the health and fitness aspect of it. I want them to be active on their own and be an active person. Someone that is goal-driven and has a career would be really, really nice. And someone that wants to have kids. If someone can cook, even better. Like it adds more sauce.
What's your favorite dish?
Jamaican ackee and saltfish. So ackee and saltfish is my stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like
wild dumpling, fried dumpling.
Oh, definitely fried dumpling. Come on now. Come on.
Just scoop it up.
Yeah.
Hey.
But, and someone that's traveling, because I enjoy traveling. So I don't want someone that's a hermit that wants to stay inside the house and just do nothing. That's not going to work with me, because I am fun and adventurous. So I like to like travel to different places, explore new things, and
Nice. Long distance relationships or not?
Yeah, I would. Honestly, with technology nowadays, and the way, technology nowadays, it makes long distance not as bad as it was like 20 years ago, right? We have FaceTime, we have ways to communicate, we can see each other quickly. Like it's fine.
Especially during quarantine, a lot of the times, like I would see my friends through like FaceTime. Not the same, but at least we have that.
Yeah.
What 3 words would your best friends use to describe you?
Oof. They would say I am high energy. They would say I'm really fun. Like I'm a fun guy. Like I'm a lot of fun to be around. And they would also say that I'm loyal.
And I'll even add some more, ladies. He's a great listener. He's a great friend. He's respectful. He never crossed boundaries. He's trustworthy. Like he's a good friend of mine, and he's a good guy.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
High energy. And if you don't have the patience for high energy, just don't even bother. Because when I met Mike McKoy, this guy would be, you guys know Canada's Wonderland? He would be in the lineup and doing the most just to go on a roller coaster. Like he's just high energy. That was in your 20s, of course. There's some maturity now, but wow. Good guy. Mike McKoy, thank you so much for joining me. Yeah. Oh, before we go, let's plug in your speed dating online shenanigans that you do. This show is actually really funny. Okay. What is it called again?
Oh, so Meet the Singles. We did season 1. People have been asking about season 2, but we would need more single people that would want to be on the show. So if they are interested, they would have to send me a DM. And once we get enough people going, we'll start the show for season 2. And it's a pretty much 7-minute time period where you'd have a chance to speak to your audience. We go on Instagram Live. So to be open to your audience as well as my audience, people jump on our live feed. I ask you questions, and then sometimes the audience asks you questions. And if somebody's interested in you, they slide into your DMs and ask you some more things. But if not, you get to meet new people, you get a fun experience, and yeah, it's a good time.
Yeah, it's always a good time. I have been cooking and be like, oh my God, did you just say that? Like, no, it's always a good time. Thank you so much, Mike McKoy, for joining me today on the Roaring 30s. I really appreciate it. We had such a great conversation and discussion. And of course, some topics are like topics on their own, right? Yep. But like, thank you so much for sharing your experiences and your knowledge with us. Really appreciate it. And hopefully we'll see you back here again when it's not -7 in Alberta and snowing. Anyway, thank you all for joining us here on the Roaring 30s, and hopefully you'll see me and we'll be back soon for another one of my videos. Thank you for joining. Bye.
Bye.